What's going on, people? I thought I'd make a little impromptu video about New Age cults and some of their recruiting and indoctrination methods. Now, I've been in relationships with people that, let's just say, have been subjected to some of their antics and have been seemingly brainwashed by some of these New Age cults. Perhaps one of the most prolific examples I can give you within my immediate vicinity would be this New Age cult known as the Ramtha School of Enlightenment out in Yelm, Washington. And yeah, I've had to deal with losing relationships and just dealing with people that get into things as harmless as meditation and self-actualization and get really deep into psychology. Maybe they like Terrence McKenna videos and dealing with psychedelics. And most often than not, they're getting recruited into a New Age cult of some form. So, just a way for me to make videos. All of this began kind of back in high school. I graduated in about 2011, and that is when the Mayan doomsday prophecy was abound. And there was this thing circulating on the internet that some people were approaching the next dimension and becoming fifth dimensional entities. And this sort of guru talk evolved that what individuals undergoing this transition into this new age were experiencing ascension symptoms. This all ties in with a very bizarre gateway of conspiracy knowledge about something called the Great White Brotherhood, which deals with concepts like the Maitreya and other entities like the Ascended Masters, and just people that believe that they're either, it's mostly women, I should call them girls, that assert they're trying to find their own inner child, or they're experiencing past life memory regression. And I want to talk more about this, but mainly it stemmed from this 2012 raising your consciousness trope. And really what this is let's look at some symptoms of, got a few notes out here, symptoms of ascension. Often sweating while dreaming. They'll experience lucid dreams. Even, dream interpretation is a topic I can really get into. But really, they usually seek aid from some sort of spiritual advisor or a spirit guide or something along those lines. And little do they know they're being brainwashed. And, eventually they'll get into psychedelic drugs and psychonautics to try to develop themselves spiritually. And it's just a big New Age sham that gets people chemically addicted to these New Age religions and this guru talk. And it can stem from things as simple as transcendental meditation, where, I've attended some transcendental classes, and nothing against the people that go there, but the guy met his wife because the guy hosting the whole seminar met his wife because he was a monk at one point at a monastery, and they adhere to this kind of altruism, this right hand path mentality that they're serving a higher power or connecting themselves to this really communistic like collective consciousness. So another thing that people experience, just look at this list here of ascension systems. They're hearing voices. They get really emotional. A lot of the times they're taking LSD, seeing the dead. I mean, communing with the dead and thinking this whole past life memory regression thing comes into play here. And, if they confide some of their personal information to these self-proclaimed gurus, they make themselves that much more vulnerable. So what really is ascension? All right, let's bring up something else here. Dissociative identity disorder. is what's really going on. Now, compare and contrast the Diagnostic Statistical Manual and this dissociative phenomenon, and it's what occurs when people are taking hallucinogenic drugs a lot of the time, a sense of being separated from yourself and your emotions. Let's see, what else does it say? A blurred sense of your own identity. You can go ahead and read this yourself and just do a search on these terms. But really, this is brainwashing 101. Is they're inducing this dissociative identity. Now, if you want to take things a step further into the occult, a lot of people will reference shadow work, but this follows another thing, in part by, I had said his name here earlier, Carl Jung was kind of the forerunner of this, and it's the 7 phases of alchemical transmutation. So when people say shadow work, that's really, it's like step 3. Here it is, shadow work right there. But there are more steps down the line that someone that's a guru with access to, these mind-altering drugs like dimethyltryptamine, DMT, will use in order to brainwash people into these cults. So, and it gets into this whole sense of, developing yourself, self-realization, and it's a fraud, it's a sham. A lot of the times you hear them say calcination of the pineal gland. That's step number 1. You're just trying to overcome your ego. You're looking for ego death by inducing these altered states of consciousness, which all goes back to dissociative identity disorder. Now, that's an early term for actually multiple personality disorder, because a lot of the time people will get seemingly possessed by entities, and it's just bad news when you get into all this stuff. But it all stemmed from this 2012 doomsday conspiracy theory of Ascension, and it's all connected to the same thing. So Ascension, shadow work, dissociative identity disorder, and the 7 stages of alchemy, all really the same thing, just depending on how privy you are to this information and, how much you want to manipulate people at its core, right? These gurus will oftentimes target, women into crystals and gemstones and, claim that each one of their chakras can be aligned using certain teas, herbs, candles, incense, certain color patterns. And you go back to dissociative identity disorder, and a lot of the things that, this mystical thought forms start to take over, and, they develop suicidal ideation and other things because they're being put through a lot chemically in their brain. And this amnesia that they experience because they think, just like the Ramtha School of Enlightenment, they think that they're channeling a Lumerian being, but they've really drank the Kool-Aid. And I've seen a lot of people get drawn into these cults, and I just want to make a quick video saying how it's all related and just kind of rant about it. But that's all for now. I'll leave a few links in the description. And, later.